This is One-on-One. Dr. Angela Mims is Corporate Director of Women's Programs at Community Education Centers, Inc. That's CEC. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Let everybody know what CEC really is.
CEC is one of the largest treatment reentry services organizations. We're located in 17 different states. We provide services for over 30,000 offenders throughout the United States. We actually started out in New Jersey.
Right.
We have 6 facilities here. Talbot Hall, Bo Robinson, Delaney Hall, Tully House, Harbor House, and Logan Hall.
Headed up by our good friend John Clancy, who talks to us about these issues all the time. Recidivism rates, real clear on this. When it comes to women who have gone through community education center programs, reentry, if you will, recidivism rates reduced by 50% for women, 30% for men?
Yes.
How is that? What are you doing that helps reduce those rates of recidivism?
Well, it's because we're addressing the offender holistically. We're addressing all aspects of that individual's life. When the offenders are actually transitioning from the state facilities, they come through Bo Robinson or they come through Talbot Hall. And during that time, they're assessed for whatever specific needs they may have and what services that they really need when they transition to the halfway house setting. So what we do, we address those particular areas. And then also we introduce them to an orientation phase of treatment. And as they transition out, they are assessed and they're placed in programs that's going to help them with those specific needs.
You know, I don't want to assume anything, Dr. Mims. Recidivism, so we can explain it clearly, the rate of recidivism, that is the rate at which people, once they leave prison, wind up coming back,
right,
okay, is very high.
Yes, it is.
How high?
Well, right now, I think the recidivism rate, I'm not quite sure the recidivism rate for how it is right now. I just know that we have reduced it. New Jersey started out when the assessment centers opened up, we was like in the 30s, and now it has dropped down to like maybe 24%.
Put it this way, folks, a ridiculous number, absurdly unacceptable number of people who go to prison wind up coming back for repeat offenses. Let's just put it that way. And one of the things I want to talk about, women, right? With women, some of these offenders, many times they're drug-related issues, correct?
Yes.
They go out on parole, right?
Yes.
They're often facing a range of issues. Let's go through some of them. Hard to find a job.
It's extremely hard to find a
Why?
job because some of the women have never had jobs, or some of the women may have only a 6th grade level education. So it's tougher for them when they go out into the community. So that's why it's so important when they come through our programs that we put them in the educational services program, so this way they can get their GED. And then we try to introduce them to resume writing, learning interviewing skills, you know, preparing them to go back out into the community so this way they can get a job. But it's really rough for women.
So a big part of community education center programming is education.
Yes, it is.
It's job training.
It's changing lives. We want to change their lives because if you keep putting them back in the prison and they do nothing except wait until it's time to go home, you're going to get nothing in return. But sending them through our programs, they have the opportunity of being introduced to addressing their substance abuse issues. They're being introduced to addressing their educational issues. We can help them in regards to housing. We can start the calls and setting up referrals for them to get housing when they leave our programs. But it's really rough when you have nothing in place early on in the process. And
housing is another issue. By the way, as we do this program, Governor Christie in New Jersey has announced a new initiative, okay, that directly deals with these issues. Talk about it.
He introduced the Drug Court Initiative. And the Drug Court Initiative, I think it's a wonderful thing because of the simple fact that it gives the offenders the opportunity to address their problems with addiction. It gives them the opportunity to turn their lives around. So when they go home, they'll be more productive in the community rather than going home and not having to address their issues with addiction and not addressing their issues with housing or anything like that. I think when they go into reentry programs and they're introduced to different services and they're introduced to different ways of looking at life, it makes them feel better about themselves, to build their self-esteem. It makes them more productive as they transition into the community.
Dr. Mims, I'm often curious about this. When I've toured your facilities, with John Clancy, and I've seen some of the women I've interviewed, many of the alums, if you will. I've often wondered, what about the children of these women? What are they facing?
You know, it's hard because some of the kids are suffering from, you know, like separation anxiety because they've been with their mother for so long. Now they may either end up in the foster care system or they may end up living with another family member, you know, whether it's a grandmother or an aunt or someone. So the kids are really suffering behind this because children do want to be with their mother.
That's right.
That's without a doubt. They want to be with their mother.
What do you do to help them?
Well, we provide opportunities for DIFAs to come into our program and bring the kids and set up special visits with their children. We have family services program that help the residents to reestablish their relationship with their family members because, you know, sometimes going into the system and constantly going back and forth, the families become a little tired. So what we want to do is reestablish those bonds, you know, reestablish the communication between the family and the offenders and their children. So this way they can understand what's going on with the offender, their experience, and then also be able to help them out when they go back into the community. Because, you know, sometimes when an offender go home, the family's happy, yay, you're home, but then after a while they start becoming frustrated because they don't understand why it's so hard for them to find a job or it's so hard for them to move on. But coming through the family services process, they get a clearer understanding that, you know, these things may happen. They may face some barriers.
Finally, before I let you go, do you think we as a society are coming to understand and be more empathetic towards some of the challenges these women and men are facing? A few seconds, go ahead. We'll keep talking off the air, but go ahead.
I think they are becoming a little bit more empathetic because I'm seeing more initiatives coming out that's willing to help the population because you never really heard reentry that often, but I have to say in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been hearing it more often about
reentry
services.
Into society.
Yes.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Johnson & Johnson, Health First New Jersey, TD Bank, the Russell Berry Foundation, and by Community Education Centers. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and northjersey.com. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.